motor chocolate. Fine, no bucket. Watch your love for like it. Why not more your body, chocolate.
So if your mind is not okay, you need to talk about it. You need to understand. You need to take care of it. Show up and be the best you, because listen, somebody can be prettier than you. Somebody can be faster than you. Somebody can be richer than you. You're never going to be the...
Welcome back to Take a Seat. This is a channel that I've created to foster and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. We get entrepreneurs, business people, and also high-profile influencers. I myself know the power of habits and thoughts. I've made it from McDonald's to a £10 million property portfolio. Today, I have a very special guest, and it's a first for two reasons. First, we've got our first female on the show.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
Second of all, guys, she's a high-profile influencer. She's known worldwide for sure. She sat on a sofa with Andrew Tate, and that podcast actually got 4.2 million views. She's also been on first dates with Castillo. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Dinalva.
Thank you, guys. Supposed to be here. That was a nice introduction.
Yeah?
I'm special, but you're special too. I was just listening to your journey. Like, that's great. It's good to be here. It's nice to speak to like-minded minds.
Definitely, 100. I know my audience is going to be really happy to see somebody like you, you know. I do normally talk a lot about entrepreneurship and business, and I'm a real estate expert. However, we've diverted the podcast a little bit because I think there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
You know, if you maybe that's where you want to park your earn income. You want to earn some money and you want to put it into assets to create some passive income. But maybe you don't want to be in that little hassle of managing property, doing maintenance, dealing with builders. Maybe you want to make your money elsewhere and then take that money and put it into real estate and get someone else to manage it while you're on holiday somewhere.
Yes, headaches. I think that's probably why I'm probably the first female to be on your show, because when you talk about business and looking at that grafting that way, girls, I don't know. I don't think we have the mind for it in the way that the men do it.
Really?
So I don't think so. I think men are used to kind of putting their head down and hustling from early. You know, you are like the working people. Okay. Girls, usually they're more focused on things like beauty or education, which is more kind of like more of a modern thing. But usually girls, they're focusing on things that don't involve that arduous, you know, effort to make something out of themselves.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think it comes from the idea that women are meant to be wives, you know, girls are meant to be princesses. So by default, you know, when you're growing up, like, oh my God, look at this pretty girl. Girls don't do that. Be nice, like a pretty girl. Oh, look at you. Why are you acting like a boy? Things like, I used to get that all the time. Okay. Because I was a tomboy growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
You're really pretty now.
No, thank you. I had my glow up when I was like 22 after my first degree.
Really?
Yes.
I thought you were only 22 now.
I'm a 30-year-old woman. I'm a grown girl. Yeah.
You're doing good, man. You're doing good. So what do you think sort of, you know, the world is changing a lot. And, you know, things like house prices and material items are getting more and more expensive. So that means, you know, couples have to start working. The woman is not at home anymore, because even if the man wanted that, he's like, hang on, we can't get a mortgage. We need two incomes. And if you want a decent life in the UK now, especially, you know, you need to be earning more money. So isn't the mindset changing at all for women?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, you heard what he said. Hear it from the mouth of a man so that you can know that it's not just me saying it. I say it all the time. In this climate, no, you even if you wanted to be the protector and provider and, you know, fulfill that traditional male role of you stay at home woman and I go to work, you cannot afford to do that. Most men in today's age cannot even afford to take care of themselves properly, let alone then have to take care of a woman and a child and the home and all of these things. It's too much. So the woman of today has to also work. A woman of today has to be made in her own way to contribute. Otherwise, it's going to be financial stress in a relationship, and you know that ruins everything.
Definitely. That's one of the key drivers of relationship problems. When money is a problem, everything's a problem.
Everything's a problem. And the whole stability is shaken up, everything. So any man, because I was actually recently, I was sitting down with on a podcast and I mentioned my education, you know, and they kind of did like some kind of joke about it. And I looked at them, I said, why are you joking? Because I'm a girl, I'm not allowed to be smart. Because I'm a girl, I'm meant to be at home and cleaning and cooking for you. But when the cost of living crisis comes and all the stress is on you and then you don't know what to do and where to run, what am I meant to do? To sit there and just rub your back, or should I contribute? If anything, men should be very grateful that now they are able to have women that can contribute and kind of lessen the load. Even though you can still take the leadership role, but at least have a partner. Don't be the only one running the race. It's not fair.
It's true. What do you think makes men so insecure about a woman working?
I think it's, there's a habit. Men have been kind of like in the driving seat for so long. And now when women are coming and also being able to drive within this analogy, men are now thinking, yeah, but what's my use? I'm the one that drives. I'm the one that works. I'm the guy. A woman, she needs to be at home and cook because I don't cook and clean. The woman does that and I work. So when a woman now works and the woman experiences that, it's all about intelligence. Intelligence it doesn't matter if you're a man or if you're a woman. Intelligence is human. So as a woman, you are able now to do what men at one point were the only ones doing. And as women as well, now you can also do it with higher quality sometimes. Because girls, this is something that does happen. I'm a teacher now as well. And I did a lot of research into gender and the impact it has on education. And girls actually perform really, really well.
Yeah,
they're more responsible. They're taught to be, you have to behave, you have to be composed. So when it comes to education, they don't act out like boys do. If you see most of the suspension rates or exclusions, attentions, it's going to be the boys.
Yeah.
So girls now can achieve a higher quality than men. So when there's a girl that now works and is dedicated and has a career, that intimidates the man because she can do it and she does it well. At least it looks better than what I'm doing. So then they feel maybe displaced, perhaps. I don't know. I think that's probably what it is.
Definitely. Well, I think at a younger age, us boys are full of testosterone, so we're not as focused. But I definitely know the girls are a lot more mature.
Oh, yes.
So they take on that
They
information.
take it in nice and early. I mean, I look at the difference between my students, between the boys and the girls, and I already can tell. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
In fact, going back to school as a grown person to analyze children's behavior, I can see why everyone is the way they are as adults. I see the solution to every problem, and I see what causes every problem, and that's one of them. The girls, if a girl, applies herself in education and creates that habit, in the future, when both the boy and the girl graduate and the girl goes into work, she's going to continue working hard. She'll go into managerial roles if she's capable of things like this. Whereas sometimes I feel like with men, there's more competition between them because I guess it's more common to see a lot of men in the workplace, less than women. And if you're a woman that is in scarcity and you work well, you're going to keep going more and more. And we deal well with managing people as well. And nowadays, a lot of the things is about managing people. It's about, it's soft power. It's not hard power anymore, if you understand what I mean, It's diplomacy, it's not war. So, and that's more bringing the feminine side to things. And women now can get involved in tech. Women are much more involved in tech now. Women are involved in business. They're starting to catch it all. And I feel like that's changing the power dynamic in terms of gender roles.
So where do we find this balance? Men are generally programmed to be alpha and in charge.
Yeah.
Since the start of time, we've been going out to hunt, right? And we're hunting to feed the family.
Yeah.
Mental health is a big growing sort of something that's happening in the world right now. And I think men have been in control of providing for their families, but they're losing that balance at home. They're losing that balance in the workplace because they're being bullied by their manager and things like that. So everywhere they go in,
it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. So they're not winning at home. They're not winning at work. And, if they're not that successful at work either, maybe the friends down their pub are taking maybe the piss out of them. So how do we balance to make sure that even if a woman is successful, there's still a good respect barrier between a man and a female?
I think it just all comes from within. Everything comes from within. Your self-respect, no one can teach you that. You have to teach that yourself. You have to kind of grow that within yourself. Your confidence, it all comes within you. For you to understand your value, nobody can tell you. And I think that nowadays people are attaching their value to things that are outside of themselves. For example, for me, listen, I can be with any person in the world. I don't care about what your net worth is. I know what my value is. And my value is higher than anybody simply for the fact that I believe in it so strongly. Yes. Self-belief is the strongest thing you can have. So if you are with a woman that is more evolved or in terms of career-wise, that has more money than you or that is doing better than you, whatever, don't forget that there's value beyond that, beyond your career. Create yourself to be a great human. That then when you look at yourself as a man, you're a great man because you're a great human. I think that the problem with men nowadays is the lack of communication. I think there's a lot of, what I call toxic masculinity, which kind of favors the whole, a man is a man, men don't cry, you don't complain, stop acting like a little B word, and that's not okay because, for example, for me, I offer a lot of support to my guy friends. As they say, I'm a masculine woman. No, I'm just a woman that can, I'm fluid with it. I can hang out with the boys the same way I can hang out with the girls. And I find that the problem with men is that they don't have an outlet. They don't have something that allows them to let out their frustrations. And then when it boils up, or when there's so much pent up frustration, that's going to affect your productivity. That's going to affect the way you look at yourself. It's going to affect so much more than you realize. And the problem is all just within you.
Yeah.
I don't believe, genuinely, I don't believe that I can't be with certain men. I believe that I could be a wife to most men. Why? Because my value and everything comes from within. So I don't care if you're here or if you're there. We can work it out because I look beyond the material. And I think men need to start doing that a lot more. Men compete over who's got the best swag, who's got the best car, who's got the best watch, who's got the best this, who's got the best. And you're not taking care of yourself. You go into a relationship, you get married, and you ruin everything because you realize at the end of the day, it's not about the car, it's not about the watch, it's not about anything that you've got, it's about you. So I think that's where people need to start going more.
Definitely.
Look within.
They're focusing on the wrong thing.
Completely.
But so, where are these teachings that you're telling us right now? Where do men go to? Where are these places that they can let some steam off?
I think, do you know what? The big problem is that people keep going against men and women being friends. For me, I think that a man can find peace of mind in a woman. And that does not have to be your wife. That's the first thing. It does not have to be a wife. A man needs to be able to feel comfortable to be able to speak to somebody that he's not going to feel like that they're going to change the way that they think about them. For example, if you're talking about your problems to another guy, you're speaking to your competitor. That doesn't make sense. Do you see what I mean? In that sense, if you're speaking to a woman, she'll give you more of an emotive kind of like analysis. I don't know. Women have that nurturing feeling that it's undeniable, whether it's a friend, girlfriend, mother, sister, whatever.
Now, I partially agree with you there because if that was in a professional manner, I would definitely agree with you because I know women are professional, and if there's a job on the line, then that would definitely be the case. But I find it hard to believe myself that men and women can be friends simply because of the fact that most men are dogs.
So you couldn't be my friend?
I believe I could.
There you go. Then we can be. Women and men can be friends then.
We can, but I don't know. My focus is, I feel, is a lot different. So I've accomplished different things, and I'm thinking on a different, wavelength. And I don't think not all men have that same focus.
Yeah.
And as soon as, I saw this prank show, and they said, call your friend up who's a girl, and they told the girl,
call the guy
up and telling him that I've just broke up with my man and stuff, and you know what, I'll have to confess that I really have feelings with you. And she goes, get out of here, I'm gonna do that, he ain't gonna care, he's never gonna be up for anything. And he does that in 2 seconds. The guy's there, he's like running, and he's done it. And out of 10 people, 9 of the men turned up. Like one of the guys, I think maybe, I don't even know if he was straight or something, but maybe that's why. But the other 9 guys were like, yeah, I'm there.
Let me tell you something. If you're to do that in the reverse, you have a guy and potentially he can speak to some of his girlfriends, and he says that some of them will be flattered and be like, really? And then they'll start growing feelings. It's an absolute kind of, it's so flattering for somebody to say, I've got feelings for you and I've always liked you. It's a very powerful feeling. So a woman saying that to a man, and of course he's going to be like, wow, whether it's a friend or not. I think that we need to stop kind of putting people in positions where things happen that is just natural. Come on, if I'm telling you I've got feelings for you, I've always liked you, I've always wanted to go there with you. Of course, like a normal person, in his head, I know that he would have been like, whoa, that's weird, but sure, that's amazing. And because you're friends as well, he will know you on a level that he doesn't know other girls. He'll know you on a deeper level. So of course he's going to be thinking, okay, cool. If you're going to be my wife, I'll be your husband, And obviously there are friendships that kind of, that are like that, where it's like it's hollow. You know, if he had the chance, he would. But for
Yes.
example, in my experience, what
Yeah.
I think is important is for people to start to remember what friendships actually mean. Because when you're young, you have a lot of guys and girlfriends. You even have a girl best friend in the street, like your neighbor. You know, the neighbors are not upset at you being friends with their daughter. You're the same age, everything is okay. Why? Because there's no sexual intentions, there's no sexual thought at that age. You're too young and too pure. When you grow older, and the problem is, especially nowadays, people just talk about sex all the time. People always talk about sexualizing women. Women are now like sexualizing themselves. It's all about sex, 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 which creates a very difficult kind of environment to set boundaries. For me, I have a very simple rule with my guys. I say, if you treat a guy like that, would it be okay? No, so don't treat me like that. We're friends. There's that boundary. You treat your guy friends the same way you treat me. We talk the same way. We don't need to touch each other and hold hands and give long hugs. No, like you're the man them, I'm the man them. We're friends, you know.
Yes,
You create those boundaries, and
Yes.
eventually, even if the person was to have untoward intentions to begin with, they will then adjust themselves, because not everybody will know what you're about. You need to show people what you're about. So that's why I believe women and men can be friends, but people need to understand what friendships mean in the first place. They need to have their boundaries. Like I said, it all starts with you.
Definitely. Do you think you need to set them boundaries and make it clear? Is it something that needs to be said, or is it just something that needs to be known now?
Listen, it's something that may need to be said, because I think that a lot of the time guys kind of struggle to understand the cues. You know, the micro language that girls do all the time that we clock. That's why we always know when a guy's cheating, even though he hasn't said or done anything. But guys kind of tend to struggle with that a little bit more. So there's two ways you can do it. You can do verbal, or you can do in actions. If, for example, your friend touches you a little bit more, you just move. Very simple. You can say no to somebody with a smile and be like, you know what? Like, I've had friends that I've said, would you ever, go for me? Because, they enjoy my personality, my company. Sometimes I cook for my guy friends and stuff. And I've said, listen, if you're to be my husband, it's written in the stars and I cannot do anything about it, no matter how much I run away from it. So right now, I think it's much more important for you to appreciate and enjoy my company than to think about the future that you don't even know if it's going to be there, and ruin the opportunity for us to get into business, for us to create a good friendship, for me to even help you one day if you do find your wife.
Yeah.
There's more benefit to you having somebody in your life for those purposes than to always make it about sex. I would not be the woman that I am today if I didn't have guy friends. You don't become somebody in life without interacting with the opposite sex, especially as women. If you want to be successful, if you want to have a career, if we talk about the patriarchy, patriarchy essentially a society that is run by the male, which it still is. Of course, you have to deal with men. If you're not taught how to deal with men and set those boundaries, of course, you're forever going to be under the man. Of course, you're always going to complain about the patriarchy, but you don't even know how to operate within that system. So I think that's kind of like where we need to kind of go for more. And that's why I speak out loud, and I'm bold with it, because I want to teach women to be able to navigate in the world that they live in. We will not change anything by screaming, shouting, and kicking. No way. We change things by working with the system, infiltrate from within, and then change. That's how it goes.
Nice. It looks like you understand the game and the rules of the game, and you've got a blueprint to be successful, and you want to teach other people this.
Basically.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Energy. So Dinalva, tell us a little bit more about you personally now. I don't know if a lot of people know about you. I certainly don't know a lot. I've heard little snippets, but I want to know, tell me a little bit about your life. Where did you grow up? What's your background? Tell us a little bit about school, some of your qualifications, and some of the job roles that you've done.
Oh, okay. So this is like a story with so many different elements. I always say I'm a very complex, simple character.
Wow.
So my parents, both of them, are from Angola.
Angola.
Yeah. I was born in Portugal.
Okay.
And I moved to the UK when I was 12.
Hola.
Yeah, hola.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Yes, very good. There you go, Ronaldo. Shoo. That's what most people say to me. I grew up in Portugal. It's amazing. Although I was in Portugal, I still always been kind of like an immigrant, the odd one out, because we're Angolans in Portugal at that time as well. Seeing Black people was like, you think that people complain about racism here, they've never seen anything. So there, we always have been the outsiders. We've always had a different culture because we grew up with the Angolan culture. Even though I am mixed race, my mom is Angolan. Like, she'd never been to Portugal until she gave birth to me.
Wow.
So, and then from there, when we moved to the UK, my dad passed away when maybe like a few months after us moving here.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite tough.
Did that affect you?
It did. It did. Quite. Um. It gave me a fire. You know, it gave me the desire to make someone proud, to live for something more than myself as well. Because I was really close to my dad. That's why I was a tomboy. I'm a warrior. My dad fought in the Angolan Civil War. So he always had that kind of revolutionary spirit. He taught us a lot about history of the country. Same with my mom. We come from military background. So again, another reason why I'm not a scaredy cat, let's say, you know. And yeah, like when he passed away, my mom was completely on her own with 4 daughters. And I was like, wow, my role model, like the one that I wish I could be like. I always wanted to be like my dad. I thought he was so cool, you know. I've always looked up to men. That's why people like to tell me that I'm masculine now. But no, that's why I know how to play the game, you know, because men are what inspire me, because I've got, I would say, like a bit of an obsession with power. I like to understand how power works, how you gain it, how people maintain it. Like, why are you powerful? Why are you who you are? And I did politics. So, and yeah, like we came, and I don't know. I've always been kind of like an outsider. I've always been an overcomer. I think my whole life, from even before I was born, came from struggle with war, with all of these things. So when we moved to England, it was a new struggle. It was the whole immigration. It was about learning a new language. You being, you know, ostracized not only for your skin color, but also because you're not from my country. Go back to your own country. All of these things. It was quite emotionally. It was difficult, but again, I've always been very much whatever. You know.
Where did you grow up when you came to England?
Norfolk, countryside.
Oh, Norfolk. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice part of the country.
It's beautiful, but it's like culturally bland, you know. It's like really not much going on, but it was good. I'm happy because it allowed us to grow up in an environment that kept us within certain limits as you know, you're trying to find yourself as teenagers and so on. I feel like if I'd come to London, I think I would have been lost. You know, I would have just it's too much. London is too fast. I think it's very easy for children to get lost. Yes, some of them can take advantage of the opportunity, but it can be a bit tricky. So Norfolk was really good. It was nice. It got me to kind of explore Britain and the British identity from a different level, which now is a great advantage, because when I speak on camera, I speak also with the knowledge of, okay, in Norfolk, I'm surrounded by a lot of white people. A lot of people in Norfolk are wealthy, you know, the farmers, the old school wealth, all of these things. So there's a certain composure that you have to kind of carry yourself with. Then I'm foreign and I'm black. So I always knew, okay, there's certain ways that you talk, you know, I wanted to fit in. So I speak eloquently for a reason, because of where I grew up. And I mean, it was fun. I made great friends. I think growing up there was good for me because my mom, the whole life, she'd been like fleeing war. So she didn't even go through education. She's a very smart woman, but education, as we know it, is not what she got. Because, I mean, what school? Your school's getting bombed tomorrow, you know? Yeah. So I actually had the opportunity to meet a lot of people that kind of knew their way through education because they came from more privileged backgrounds. So through my friends, I started to find myself in education as well. I came at 12, I didn't speak a word of English. But in Portugal, I've always been very smart. Like academically, I've always been a bookworm. There was, from my sisters, maybe they were a bit more like sociable and fun. Me, I was the tomboy that was smart. That's what I loved. And my dad championed that a lot as well. So that's why even now, I know my dad's memory and spirit is through me every single time. Every time I speak, it's like, oh yeah, she's the smart, strong girl, you know, like always.
And where do you fit in with your sisters?
So I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
So I grew up as the middle child for a while, so which also helps my kind of like freedom of expression, because we're the forgotten ones, you know, the middle ones.
Don't know it.
Yeah, but no, like my whole family, luckily, like we're all very blessed to be quite intelligent people naturally, both on my dad's and my mom's side, and my sisters and everything. And school was great. I love school. I love to learn. I'm a very curious person. You know, I love to learn. I like to ask questions. And school was great. Within 2 months, I started speaking English.
Great.
And started moving up to the top sets and just started to find myself and, I don't know, just eager to see more of the world. And yeah, from there, I just kept growing. I went to sixth form. And this is when things now get a little bit more complex. Because
Okay.
people don't understand, like, why does this girl talk like she knows everything? Because I know a lot. So, yes.
Are you still in Norfolk at this
No,
stage?
oh yeah, there. I didn't leave Norfolk until I had to go to university, and then I went to Coventry.
Right.
So I've had
Okay.
so many different like British
Okay.
experiences. Norfolk and Coventry are not the same
No.
at all. And then those two in London, definitely not the same. So it's almost like I've lived in 3 different countries almost within the
Wow.
UK.
I've never
It's
thought of
very
it.
yeah, it's very I mean, where did you grow up? Here in London?
I've always been East London boy.
Oh, East London boy.
Always East
Did you
London.
venture out a lot?
Well, my mum was born in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was with my cousins, and they
Your
all
cousins.
talk like that, man.
But it's different though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is different. A little bus used to come on the road, and it was a library inside. So we didn't even go into a library. They used to it goes the library bus would come, and everything was just like funny. Even the water tastes funny. Yeah, and my mum used to take these empty big 5-liter bottles there and fill them up and put them in the car. I'm like, why? And she goes, this is pure water.
Yes, we did. My mum used to do that as well in Portugal. Although we used to go to these reserves, and
Yeah.
she'd carry like all these big in the car would be full of them. We'd be there like filling them up. Like, oh my god. But yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, it's different, isn't it?
And I have traveled as well. So I've been to over actually 45 countries.
There you go.
But I've traveled all over UK. Like in October time, I went to Liverpool. It's my second time. I love
It's
Liverpool,
nice.
mate.
I've never been.
So all the Scousers out there, mate. The way
You
they
know, I don't
talk.
understand them. Listen, I'm sorry, Scottish people and Liverpudlians, and even sometimes the ones from Manchester. I don't understand. I'm foreign at the end of the day. As much as I speak great English, sometimes I struggle to understand people's accents. I'm like, yeah.
Listen, look, what people need to understand is how well do we speak Portuguese?
Exactly.
We don't, and you've come into this country, learned another language, made it your own, and moving with that. I think we need to be more considerate. When foreign people come here, they come and pick up another language. How easy is it to learn another European sort of language?
It's not.
It's very hard, and that's the mindset we should have. It should always be open-minded, I believe.
Yes, of course. I mean, this is the thing. I speak to a lot of the kids, especially in the school I'm working at the moment, and I say, listen, you becoming an immigrant, you've believed that your value has gone down. No, it's gone up. Because how many people have the cultural exposure that you have? How many people are able to see 2 worlds the way that you see? And then obviously then there's the ones that speak different languages as well. It's actually an important skill that does develop your brain. So I find it very insulting sometimes when people try and question my intelligence, because I say I don't even just speak 2 languages, I speak 4. So my brain operates different. I'm wired completely different. And you could then see this through my education the whole time. Like my brain thinks like this, like expands. My brain doesn't think focused. It thinks like outwardly. So for example, my A levels, I did chemistry, maths, history, and Spanish.
Wow.
Very different subjects. Science, I've got science, I've got maths, humanities, and a language. Okay, that's fantastic. I got started to learn the world from so many different perspectives. And I like to go deep, and I like to succeed a lot. I like to excel. So academically, I've always been the top grades type of student, I never had to try really hard. I've always been really fun as well. Always liking to go out and have fun, and did a lot of sport.
You look like a fun person.
Yeah, I love to
see
go
your
out.
social media. You're partying hard.
I
girl.
party. I'm active. That's the thing. I believe people can do so much more and can be so much more than what they give themselves credit for. Like literally, because I play sport. I love sport. Like, ask me to analyze a football game, I'll tell you everything. I understand so much about it because I've always enjoyed it. I love going out. I love fashion. I love science. I love politics. I love history. I love languages. I love everything because I've taught myself to understand the beauty in learning, the beauty in unraveling a mystery. Something that was gibberish to you today, tomorrow will make perfect sense. That is the magic of learning. And I think that nowadays people are starting to understand that a little bit more about me, but I don't think they know how deep it goes even. I think they're just very much, they're just curious and kind of like shocked as like, who's this girl?
Do you think you're sitting in the right rooms? Because it is all
No.
about your environment as well. Because I've seen a very different side of you today, and I'm very proud to have you on.
No,
and I
thank
think
you.
you're probably inspiring a lot of women with your mindset. Like there was actually a quote or a little story saying there was one guy who went to prison and there was one guy who became a doctor, and they both asked this person, why did you become a doctor and why did you go to prison? And they both said, my dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all depends how you take
It's
it,
your
you
mindset.
know. And one person say he's an alcoholic. I don't want to be in that position. I want to make myself into something better. I want to help people and fix people like you.
Yes.
And the other one took it in a different way and said, well, I already haven't been dealt the cards, so fuck it.
Exactly. I mean, look, I'm an immigrant. I always say to people, look at me. I represent the trifecta of disadvantage, supposedly. Black representation, immigration, and woman. Oh, wait, and single parent household. That's actually 4 things that would have made me be, if anything, just another statistical failure. And it's always about your mindset. It's about the humility that you have within yourself to say, okay, I don't know much. I need to learn. I haven't done enough. I need to do more. You know, it's about knowing where your gaps are. And I don't think people do that enough. People are very defensive about their shortcomings. You know, people look at failures as a loss. No, a failure is a good thing. It's a lesson. It shows you what you're not doing well. It shows you what you need to do better. It gives you an opening for something new, you know?
It looks like you look at the glass half full
Always.
and not half empty. Where does that mindset come from? Where is that energy coming from within you? That's always, because that's some sort of motivation within inside you.
Yeah.
You know, and not everybody has that. And it really frustrates me when
Yeah.
when I don't see other people, because I'm like, just turn the switch on.
Yeah.
You've got the keys any time.
I don't know. I think it comes from the fact that I can't really complain because I grew up hearing the stories from my mom and my dad about the war, and the Angolan Civil War was really bloody, and it was really, really a gruesome affair. And when they tell me these stories, and my mom used to tell me, like, sometimes she'd leave the house, the bomb just dropped, and she'd see like flesh all over the trees and the houses would be destroyed. She's seen really horrible things. She sat in bombs without realizing so many things. And I realized, like, bro, my life could be so much worse. Everyone's life could be so much worse. But every time we'd be at home, my mom and my dad would be like, why are you crying? You should have been crying, you know? Only mom and dad can cry because, look, we've gone through this. You're fine.
Yes.
You know? And then through kind of like being trained with that mindset from youth, and just, I've always been a very like uplifted and bright energy. I love to laugh. I love to talk. I love to socialize. I just like to be happy. Happiness, I'm addicted to happiness. I'm a happiness addict. Like, people don't understand. I'm always laughing. Like, things will go wrong, and I'm like, it's okay, we'll find a solution, but whatever, let's keep going.
Do you find people don't like you for that?
Oh yeah, they think, for example, my youngest sister, she's the opposite. She's extremely intelligent, but she's a pessimist. And she's like, why? You're just always like so happy. It's cringe. Like, da, da, da. People sometimes find that kind of irritating because, like, for example, my relationship, the previous one, my ex used to always be like, you don't beat yourself up enough. I'm like, but why should I? Why do I want to be? I don't want to beat myself up. I love myself. I want to make myself be good. You know, It's people have the wrong mentality every single time. And I think in the fact that I grasped onto intelligence and education from young, I taught myself also, I proved to myself that through learning, you fix things. There's nothing in this world that you cannot fix.
Yeah. Dinalva, I'm seeing a little resemblance here. Like, you know, you've been through a little bit of like pain in terms of not having maybe the best start and being exposed to something that your parents have seen and losing your dad at a young age. And so you get some energy to say, I want to take control. I want to,
Yes.
you know, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be stuck. And when I grew up, I went to India a few times, and I used to see homeless people on the floor. And my dad literally goes, if your granddad didn't come here in the 60s, I'd be working on that stall selling these fruits and stuff. And look what they're wearing and how they're dressed. So we're very fortunate. So even I've had that sort of mindset of, hey, I've got a roof over my head and I've
Could
got
be
food.
worse.
Exactly. So we always see it from that point of view.
Yeah.
Now, what happens somebody who's born here, quite comfortable, their parents have got good jobs, and they've never really had to struggle? Because I've seen a lot of people like that. They get their education right, but there's nothing really else there because they've never really felt pain or what it feels like to lose something.
The challenge.
What would you say to people like that, you know?
Well, to be honest, just to say what you said is true. You see how challenges and issues make you actually be better. They get you to see the grass that is not greener behind you and it's actually greener here.
Yes.
It's great. People that don't have that, it's realistically, it's about looking within your humanity, you know, it's about caring more about the world around you than just caring about yourself. Because, for example, when I was younger, another thing that motivates me a lot is I used to watch on TV, the adverts for charities for Africa. And I used to see children, the malnutrition children. I used to cry. From young, I used to cry because I thought that's not fair, that's not nice. And I was grateful for my life that me seeing other people suffering didn't feel fair. So it's you don't just have to go through bad things. You can look at other people and see, would you like to be in that situation? Empathy can create so much. Empathy can be one of the biggest motivators in this world. Everyone has been a child. Everyone knows the meaning of being a child, the purity. So how can you look at a child and see a child suffering and be okay with that? If you're super, 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 super privileged, then use that. Look at that. Look at child. They're suffering. They're starving. They don't have parents. They don't have this. They're missing on so much. You can do something about it. Would you not be happy? Wouldn't that put a smile on your face? It's about finding empathy and humanity within yourself. Because when you do things with an external love, just for the sake of loving the world, you'll be rewarded. And that's one of the things I've learned the most now. And since I've kind of been discovering myself again as the person I am now, I realize that the more I give is the more I receive. I don't have to do anything. I give people, like homeless people, I give them money sometimes. Sometimes I don't even have money, and I'm like, because I'm still building myself. There's times where I'm quite low and I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy something for this person. I'll spend £10 on a meal for a random person that is just on the street. The next day comes a deal onto my table, and I'm given 10 times what I gave away, When you give love, love comes back to you. It's everything is reciprocal,
Wow. I totally agree with you. I really do, because wherever I've gone as well myself, it's like I was at the shop with my dad. It was like I never got paid, but I lived in his house and got food, but just give.
Mm-hmm.
But in return, I later learned how to do VATs and markups at the age of 12. And who gets that sort of training? Who gets how to count cash and this goes here and this is how we buy here? Like, I was just giving, but I didn't know what I was getting. I was just a bit frustrated at the time. Even every job place I've worked out, a lot of people say, why do you do so much overtime? You're not getting paid for this or this. But I just thought, I'm building a reputation next to a manager and I'm observing what he's learning. And no, I will get my payment. And people then said, oh, in a recession 2008, how did you get promoted 3 times when everybody else was getting fired? Because I created more value for myself.
That's it.
If I'm a cashier counting money, but they're going, he's getting so many leads across, why is he not on the desk converting these leads? Put him on there. And within 12 months, they're going, why is he not look after the millionaires in the area if he's the number one in West End? But there's a recession going on. But these companies still need to be profitable and they need the right people in the right places.
That's it.
So when you are doing overtime, I don't get people who say, you shouldn't be doing that. Are you getting paid for your time? Do you value yourself? Hang on.
Yeah.
The value's coming. Just give.
You have to. And that's again another problem that I have, and I think that comes from the privilege and the stability that the UK can give people, where you take things for granted. Hard work is something that people are not used to here. They don't understand what it means to really graft for something that you really want. If you want it, you have to. You have to put in the hours. For example, I've done 3 degrees in total. 2 of them I did under really, really bad conditions.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many degrees?
3.
Wow. I think that's probably one of the first people I've heard who've done 3 degrees.
Yeah,
I've heard
quite
2 and maybe little masters, but 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you like studying?
I love it. I told you, I love learning. My curious mind, and when I find passion for something, I will go into it. That's why, for example, now I'm speaking. I'm on this podcast. I'm doing all of this. I'm learning as I go along, but I'm speaking out. Like the same way, this is like doing another degree again, because I did politics, which means you're always having to have debates and discussions.
Yeah.
These people, they don't understand. My whole life, I've been trained from these moments. When they see me and they're like, wow, she says the right things. Like, well, who is this girl? It's because I'm academically and professionally and personally qualified to be sitting here.
While we're on this subject, can I ask you, what was it like sitting next to Andrew?
Do you know what? I'm a very bold person, right? I spoke to my friends. I said, what am I going to do with this guy? Because obviously it's Andrew Tate. And they're like, just go normal. Don't try and prove no points, Just make sure, because understand he's also, the main guest, and he's Andrew Tate, big ego, big personality. Just be cool, be friendly, just how you do with us. So I went, and it was like the man them. All the girls were kind of like, a bit stiff, a bit uncomfortable. Some of them disappeared as he came into the room. I was the only one that was sitting on the sofa. I was like, "Oh, so Andrew, where are you from? Did you grow up here? Did you grow up there? Did you do this? So what are you? Are you mixed race? Are you this?" And I started asking a lot of questions. And for me, he just felt normal. And then on top of that, like the only thing that Andrew Tate has more than me is money and exposure. Other than that, he is no way above me, no way superior to me. Or maybe he can fight.
Shots fired.
He's richer, he can fight, and he's got more followers. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really mean much.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
His substance is not superior to mine. Not many people's substance is superior to mine. And it's not because I believe I'm superior to everybody. No, but you're just not superior to me, and that's point blank. I run my own race in my own lane, and I'm very good at being me. I'm very good at what I do. So there's no one that can compete and be better than me at being me. So Andrew Tate, it was cool. It wasn't intimidating. It was fun. You could even see like we were wearing the sunglasses together. Yeah. Like we were having a bit of banter. It's like, oh, the Sagittarius gang. It was cool. Like I have rapport with people. I'm a sociable person.
Is he the same on camera as off camera?
No, I wouldn't say so. I feel like his energy changed a lot. It's almost like you're going from this to this. That's kind of like almost the thing. This one here that everybody now does it.
I see everyone doing this on a podcast.
And I'm like, broski, relax yourself, because this don't make you more powerful, and this don't make you part of no cult, because you need to be there in the first place. Not just everybody that does this gets anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking like I don't mind a little hand gesture, but I don't know. I need to change it up,
Yeah,
because I'm now feeling that I'd be a follower if I keep doing.
You're sheep because you saw Andrew Tate do it. A few people are doing. Come up with your own.
That's it.
Come up with your own.
I'll find something.
Yeah, I play with my rings when I speak to people. I play with my rings. I'm fine. I've got my own little things. It's okay. I don't need to copy anybody. Like people nowadays are just followers. Everyone is comfortable to be a sheep. Exactly. Everyone wants to be the same thing, just a bit different. People are afraid to stand out and stick out like a sore thumb. Listen, for me, it's been the best blessing ever. I've always been the odd one out in every single way, shape, or form, in every single environment that I'm in, including even in my house. I'm always the odd one out. And look at me now.
Yeah. Well, they say be yourself because everyone else is taken.
That's it. You have to. What choice do you have?
Yes.
And when you try to be someone that is not you suffer. I tried.
You're going to reach a dead end somewhere because you can't keep that act up forever.
It's tiring.
And then also you're attracting the wrong people around you. Also, like, be yourself. Attract the right people into your life, So Danelva, tell us, so you was in college. What subjects did you study?
So maths, chemistry, history and Spanish. And then I went to uni and I had two options. Either I was going to do maths or I was going to do anything with humanities.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to do chemistry. Chemistry, it got a bit too complex for my liking. I got the nice, deep understanding that I needed, and then I can drop it.
Yeah.
It's enough for me to get by for the rest of my life.
That big sheet with the CH and this.
Yeah,
this,
the elements.
It starts getting deep.
Yeah.
I did triple science at school. I wasn't really academic, I'll be honest. I was more in the shop and known that way. Got my 5 GCSEs, but when it came to all of them charts, I was just like, what the hell?
Heavy.
Formulas going on. Biology's not too bad.
I hated biology. It was the worst.
Physics got a bit complicated, but chemistry, it was just like, this reacts with that, creates that.
And this is residual and this and that and all these
different
things.
Language, mate.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I felt like I was learning Chinese.
But it kind of like, this is the thing, once you kind of start to look at life from different perspectives, too many things start to make sense. I think sometimes people are too used to look at one thing from one point of view. But if you look at that one thing from 3 different points of view, that one point of view that you're looking for is going to be a lot easier. Like chemistry, if you start looking at chemistry as a mixture of maths and biology, then it will make sense because it's mathematical. Chemistry is mathematical biology, basically.
Very valid point.
You open it up like that and you're fine.
Yes. So you went to university in Coventry, did you say?
Yeah, I went to Cov Uni too.
How was that?
It was a cultural shock. Yeah, my mom cried. She saw Coventry because in Norfolk it's very white, and then in Portugal where I grew up as well, it was a very small, it was basically like for very small village. Everybody knows everybody. Very white. So When I went to Coventry, there was like all mixtures of all places. There was like a lot of Asians, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Chinese, a lot of everything. And my mom was like, whoa, where am I dropping off my daughter? She was not used to it. But for me, oh my gosh, it's one of the places where I actually started to really find myself. I reconnected with my African roots because in Portugal, you kind of like, you're away from the African roots because of racism, things like that, in a mixed race. So I kind of had that crisis where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play too much on the black so I can fit in with the whites. And then Norfolk was the same thing. But when Coventry came, oh, I met the Nigerians. That's like, it was the most amazing time of my life. My spice came out more. I started to kind of embrace my African roots more. It was amazing. I met a lot of amazing people. I made great contacts. And this is one of the things that why I think is important for men and women to also be able to be friends, because through university, I've made contacts with top Gs. You think Andrew Tate is a top G? No, some of the people that I went to uni with, some of these guys, they are top Gs that have the utmost respect for me. That's why, again, sitting down with Andrew Tate is not a big deal. I'm used to being respected by big people. So if he doesn't respect me, I'll be looking at him like, you're the weirdo, not me. You can't speak to me badly because I've got people that I would be your bosses that respect me, you know? And that's because at uni, I met them, I handled myself well, you know? And to this day, they're still there. So it's fantastic. Uni was amazing. I had a great time. Did Spanish and international relations, so I got to learn about the world.
Yeah.
I got my first class degree as well, highest grades in my
wow.
class.
Congratulations.
I'm a high succeed, I'm a high achiever.
And up to this stage, had you worked?
No, my whole life has been dedicated up until now. My whole life has actually been dedicated to education. I worked in between my degrees more as a coasting period where I'm trying to now get my next step up, because after you finish your first degree, then getting funding for the next degrees is much more difficult.
Exactly. So how have you funded this all?
So when I finished my undergrad, I said, I'm definitely going to do my master's. I can't just have an undergraduate degree because that's basic. That most people can get that, you know?
How do you stand out?
I need to stand out, obviously. And I said, okay, I'm going to do my master's. But at that time, there was no funding available. So I said, okay, I'm going to work and I'm going to save my money until I have the £10,000 that I need to go to uni. If that takes me 1, 2, 3 years, I don't care.
Right.
So I started working for Severn Trent Water, doing customer service. Because, again, I'm an immigrant. I didn't know what the next step out of uni would be. I don't even know how to find a job in England at that point. I don't even know how. You ask me how to buy a house now. I won't know. As smart as I am, I do not know how to buy a house. But you need.
What, even today?
Even today.
Well, you got me now in a circle.
Can you imagine?
So
I know.
We're gonna pattern that
See?
one out. Don't worry.
This
is what we're about. We're out here trying to educate the next generation on things they should have been taught in school.
That's it.
You know, why are we not being taught? Even like at 16, technically, you're old enough to go and rent your own place and be self-sufficient. Well, why don't you know what APR is and what a credit card is? Do you know what? Even one of my sisters said to me, "Oh, do you know what? The bank gave me this card and it had £2,000 on it, so I used it. And the next minute I got a shock and I had to pay this back. And she goes, I didn't even understand it. And I was like, you're my sister. Do you know what I mean? Like I know my accounting and finance. I know accounts and numbers, but you're telling me this now, like
in the same home, and look at the difference of knowledge.
Exactly, because it's not. I was, fortunate to be at the shop to learn about money and how it works. So this is my mission. I believe this is my calling. Like, if you make it on the other side, it's not close the curtains and let's go.
Yeah.
And let's go and fly on a private jet or something. It's like, hey, let's turn back and we can help a community.
Yeah.
We can create change. And it's normally the most craziest people who have these thoughts normally do it.
Trust me. I'm crazy. I say to people, like, genius is always borderline crazy. I'm like literally on that line. I'm touching on crazy and genius at the same time every time. Because you have to really have a very kind of revolutionary and liberated mind to make a change, because there's always so many obstacles, and making a change means that you're going against the norm. Otherwise nothing is going to change. So you're going against the norm. It takes balls, it's really a heavy thing. I understand that very well. It takes balls. It takes hard work, because you need to be able to know what you're doing and you need to hold your substance to make that change. So of course you've got years of experience. Of course you can sit here now and talk. And the reason why I even wanted to come, because I paid more attention. You messaged me the first time, and that was at the height of everything. There was so much mess going on. But then I think you messaged me again at some point recently. And then I actually read your profile. I actually went on your website and I was like, yo, That's another one. That's a tribe member right there. Somebody that has the substance
Yeah.
and is speaking because he's qualified to speak and he actually has genuine intentions and motivation to make a change. There's too many people that are sitting down with a microphone in front of them and talking, and you're actually misinforming and miseducating more than you are educating. You are not helping anybody.
It's sad. It is really sad. I've only been on social media for about a year. Brilliant journey already. Been on the BBC. One of my care homes came on ITV. We've had some
Wow.
brilliant guests. Even today is a moment for me sitting with you, Dinelva. Do you know what I mean?
Appreciate you.
Because I've seen you on social media before I even thought about going on social media. And to have you in the studio today, I'm just like, is this real? Like, and there's a few nice more lineups that we got after yourself. And I'm like, how are these people coming in? We haven't even got to the 20th, episode yet, and it's coming very fast. And
It's
I'm
the
like,
substance.
I feel it's the universe. I think when you try to help the universe and you send that positive energy, I'm here to help. It will just come back to you and push you on. But it is really exciting.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's an energy that is undeniable. You may not be able to grasp it, to really explain it, to feel it,
Yeah.
but it's there. And when you are genuine about your kind-hearted intentions to the world, it's you can't fight it. It's just there. Everything is going to go right for you. There'll be challenges that you will overcome
There
like
will always
nothing.
be challenges.
Exactly.
Nothing's easy. And what I'm just trying to say is the reason why I actually came on is because I saw so many phonies, so many people
Same.
talking. They're like they prey on emotionally weak people who are on the fence, who are really depressed, and they go, "This is how you can make your next 10,000 next month."
Yes.
Hang on. I'm a multi-millionaire. Let me tell you right now, I couldn't make 10 grand on a new field next month.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I might get lucky on a Russian roulette or something.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, they're going to win. Why? Because there's a casino opening up everywhere. You've got to be in
The whole-
business
yes.
to keep popping up. And there's so many people who read one book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and they think they're qualified to speak now.
I've read this book and listen, it happens way too much. It happens way too often. Like, do you know why I went on the Pearl show?
Go on.
Because that Sarah Garvey, the Black Don, have you seen him? He talks a bit posh, like trying to be the British Kevin Samuels,
Okay,
right?
carry on.
I saw a video where he said women should not run societies. And then he started talking about how women are emotional, how women are this, that. And in my head, I was like, broski, you're talking these times, even all of these politicians, I'm probably even more qualified to be a better ruler than they are. Not just because of my education, but because of my social exposure, my social experiences, my cultural experience that actually make me understand the people a lot more than most of these rulers. And you're saying women shouldn't run societies because they're women, because supposedly they're more emotional. That's because you have been preying on all these girls that don't have the strength or even the confidence and knowledge to sit on these podcasts and tell you the truth. So I messaged him. I said, your problem is that you don't have a beautiful woman with brains to tell you about yourself. Invite me on the show and you'll see. And it was an explosion from there. That's how it was. Because I was angry. I'm
You're
like,
ready, boy.
I was ready because I'm angry. Listen, for a while I've been watching, and in this for me, and because I'm a woman, it's even worse because I think there's a lot more qualified men out there that are role models than there are women. Like you look at Jordan B. Peterson, I think he's a great role model. You know, he's a very
He
intelligent
talks
man.
with a lot of knowledge.
He's simple and logical. It is what it is. That's what he doesn't care about who he offends or he doesn't, because the truth can hurt some people, but truth is truth, you know?
What happens with your freedom of speech now? Because I don't even know if you've heard on the media recently, even Gary Lineker had an opinion, of certain things, and even he's got cancelled now.
Yeah.
And the thing I really did love, and I have to say that, is people like Ian Wright and other presenters decided to not also present.
Yes.
And a lot of people are controlled by fear because they're like, oh, he's been managed out, but I don't want to lose my job. That's the first sort of sense of community I've seen.
Yeah.
And I really liked it because
too.
you can't allow certain organizations to, treat you a certain way just because I believe everyone outside of work is allowed a freedom of speech. As long as you're not being racist or you're really offending people, you're giving your opinion.
That's it.
And you're not saying is right, should be right for you. You shouldn't be doing that. You're just saying, look, this is what I feel about this situation. What do you think about the world and, the way freedom of speech is being a bit controlled at the moment, and actually people being cancelled also,
Look, I think that as long as you are able to validate your opinions with facts and, construct it in a way that is quite logical, there's a lot that people need to say and people should have been cancelled. Like, for example, for me, the reason cancel me if you want. I don't really care. Like, my life is not dependent on social media, but my life is dependent on me being true to myself and what I believe. So there are many topics that one day I will get to speak on where I'll tell you what I think and I'll tell you the logic behind my thinking. And it's undeniable that what I'm saying is true and also is not meant to insult or offend anybody. It is just a natural truth that is said in the most honest and simplest of ways. And I think that's the most important thing. I think people need to kind of like take away the emotional attachment to things, because that's also another problem. For example, the difference between Lineker and somebody like Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate is a very kind of controversial person because he speaks a lot of truth, but his problem is the emotion that he attaches to that truth, I believe. Because if he started to explain certain dynamics between men and women in a way that is quite neutral and just only logical, like a Jordan B. Peterson would do, then fine, he would go very far, much further than what he's doing now. But instead, he makes it very emotive, he swears a lot, he shouts, he makes it a lot about this is who I am and what I believe in. No. Freedom of speech, let freedom of speech be logical. Because a lot of people now are talking. Everybody has freedom of speech, and you see what's happening. Is let the right people be seen, and those who are not qualified or do not know what they're talking about, let them go be educated. It's one of the things that I think that is the biggest problem with capitalism and democracies, because you give people too much freedom, and then you start losing the value of people in terms of a society. The West right now is really going to be in tatters. I agree with what Tate has been saying, that the West is almost like a failed society. Yes, because people don't have the most basics of things. The first thing that communists do you know what they do? Is educate their people. The first thing that they do, because that's what keeps the country running. That is what keeps people aware and logically aware of what they are doing and making sense and subscribe to it. If you give people freedom to just say whatever they want to say and there's no logic but emotion behind it, of course you're going to get cancelled. For example, Gary Lineker, what he has said, I believe that there was logic behind it because he compared to a past event. Yeah. He used almost like humor to bring a logical truth to the table, which is, how are you sending people back to concentration camps? Because they're migrants. So that's the same thing that Hitler was doing. But not because they were migrants. Migrants is the word to say Africans or Asians. The coloreds. That's just another word to say that. You're going to send to concentration camps. Of course, yeah. This is like Germany in the 30s. Yeah, it makes sense. It's not I wouldn't say it's an emotional one. I think it was satirical instead. And it got cancelled. Obviously, the BBC are going to try and cancel, but you can't censor people, especially not when they're speaking the truth that most people are talking about. Everyone is kind of like a bit against that policy. Of course, they would be. So we can't cancel him.
But I've seen more and more of the world going this way. Recently, these pronouns and certain people are saying, I didn't really want to touch on this subject, but it's a deeper meaning behind this, because I was sitting with somebody who was employed and he's a good friend of mine, and he goes, you actually got to be very careful about what you say, and you got to read the notes about how people, they, sort of want to be announced, because all of a sudden, very quickly, you could be called into office. Now, I'm a proper geezer, like, all right, mate, what's happening? What's going on? All right, babe, like, and some people can take, and I say things subconsciously. I don't even think about it.
Normal, just talk.
If you're just a woman, what's happening, babe? What's happening, gorgeous? Everything all right? We're having a little laugh, we're having a little chat, but someone's gonna say he keeps calling me that, and I don't like it. But I will say it again without even knowing it, because it's just like walking. It's something that I've been programmed. But all of a sudden, if I'm employed, like I could be facing the sack for it, and like some sort of like I'm discriminating against. What are your thoughts on? Look, that's the way the world is going.
Listen. These are the conversations that I believe are the most controversial for me, because I don't go with how the world is going. I think actually it's very concerning that we are paying so much attention to something as petty as a pronoun. And mostly because that pronoun, that whole fight over pronoun comes again from a space of sexuality, which again for me is a problem. For example, I've mentioned this before in so many different kind of podcasts. Sex and sexual identity is something that is so huge right now that people are not even understanding that it's a problem. Like, why does it matter who you go to bed with? Why does it matter? Why do I have to know that you like men or that you like women? Why is that my business? Why does anyone need to know? I guess maybe because, oh, if somebody finds out, then they can't judge me. No. If they find out, let them stay quiet. Yeah, then fair enough. If no, all of a sudden I see you kissing a boy, and for example, obviously, no, you don't know. But if I see somebody, I see my guy friend kissing another guy, I'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know, but cool, whatever. It's no big deal.
Do you?
But do you? It's fine. Like, I don't care, but I don't need to put my sexual orientation on my job application. Why isn't that weird? Why does that matter? Why does your sexual orientation matter? Why? It doesn't matter. Why does your pronoun matter so much to a point that you not become offended when somebody did not know? Why do people have to kind of like force themselves on other people so much to the point that you're not trying to change language, to change things that have been so normal, but you're changing it in a way that comes with aggression. You're not changing it from a place of understanding. You're just saying, you're demanding. It's the entitlement, I believe, that is the problem, because it's something that is so brand new that you need to educate people and ease people into it. You can't just say, okay, all of a sudden you can be all of these different types of sexualities, and anybody that does not know, you are a homophobe or you are against the community. No, I just don't know. Takes long to know. I've lived my whole life knowing this. Take it easy. Don't be mean. Don't be angry, because your anger is actually anger at yourself. Don't be angry at me. If you love yourself, if you genuinely want, I'm making that change because this is who you are, you'll never be angry at me. You'll sit me down and be like, do you know what? This is my journey. This is how I got to this stage, and I would like to be called this because it's that simple. So all of this fighting and anger, even feminism is the same thing, like so much anger all the time. People are entitled. They're entitled. And half of the time, they have not done the grafting that it takes for you to be able to even speak. And that doesn't mean going through education. That means even having those moments where you go to therapy and you really go deep into yourself to understand why all of a sudden you want to have a different pronoun. As women, with feminism as well, I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. But have you gone to experience what it feels like to be a man? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I am a woman and I would never want to be a man, because a man's life is not easy. So every woman is saying, oh, but we want more, and men are this, and the patriarchy. They make sacrifices the same way we make sacrifices. Everyone is living their own journey, but different. And until you go deeper to find out your journey, you'll never know someone else's journey, because you don't know yourself. If you know yourself, you know everybody else.
Absolutely. There's some valid points. Do you think people do it for attention? Because in today's society, they're going to do a normal 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. They ain't a nobody. They haven't got social media presence. And all of a sudden, well, actually, if I'm this and I announce it as that, I did demand certain things.
Oh, yeah. Social media is creating people to become quite narcissistic, because, especially in the Western world, because people are physically, socially becoming more isolated. And then the only attention they get is through the internet, through social media. That's why something like a pronoun is so heavy. A pronoun is nothing. A pronoun doesn't really mean much about your identity, because realistically, I can call you by your name as well. So a pronoun is something petty that people are making a big deal out of it, because it allows them to express themselves and to get certain attention, to be different from other people. And through that, call for that attention. I see it all the time. Good or bad attention. I'm teaching in schools, I told you. Good or bad attention is still attention. People will do anything for it if they're being starved of it. So all of this kind of like growth of all these different types of ways of identifying yourself and all of this complexity is now, well, no, you're looking for attention. It's very simple to say, okay, I was born this way. I like this. Sometimes I like boys. Sometimes I like girls, it's whatever. I'm cool. I like myself. I'm fine. I don't really care if you think I'm a boy or a girl, because I think I'm this and I'm fine. That is so easy.
Yes. I have to sort of agree with you. Look, you're getting a lot of attention on social media right now. You're everywhere and probably people recognize you. Also, how do you deal with the hate comments?
I laugh. I laugh a lot.
A lot of people could take it in a bad way and go downhill.
I laugh because, guys, the simplest of facts is these people that putting hate comments on your page, do they know you? No, they don't. That's it. They don't know me. You could not tell me my mom's name. You could not tell me more than what you've seen online. So how can I take any sort of like seriousness to what you're telling me when you don't know me? For example, I get a lot of comments about, oh, you're delusional, you're feminist, you're gonna end up alone, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do all of like these negative things. And I look at those comments and I laugh, and I'm like, my life is so good that what these people are saying is such a blatant lie. They really don't know who they're talking to. Why would I ever get upset? Listen, the main things that people can call you online, the main things, these are the hate
Yeah.
categories is
Tell us.
you're ugly or you're dumb. Or maybe you're broke, but that's more for guys. But ugly and dumb for women. Those are the ways that you shut a woman up online and you make them feel bad. And by ugly, talk about their bodies, maybe like body shaming or about their actual face, right? You can't tell me I'm ugly. You can't tell me I'm stupid. That's it.
Love your confidence. Honestly, that's
See what I
that's
mean?
one thing women can take away from you today. You know, and probably some of us men as well. I think you're
Yes.
inspiring some men out there. Like, own this, man.
Own it.
Own it, because it's the only thing we can own.
And if you don't believe that you're the most good-looking person, build your source. Because source is even better than good looks.
Okay.
For me, what I look like, yeah, it's fantastic. But what people really like about me is the way I carry myself, you know, the way I speak, the way I've got a source about me. That's what my guys tell me all the time. They're like, D, like, I don't really care if you're beautiful or not. Like, I think that I just like the way you carry yourself. It's really cool. Like, I love that. And that makes you be even more attractive. You know, the way you carry yourself. It's not even about what you look. So even if a guy was to call me ugly, I'd be like, yeah, you may think I'm ugly, but I'm really cool. So my personality makes me good looking. Personality counts. So
100,
yeah,
100.
I've got too many friends. I've got too many husband proposals. Do you know how many guys message me saying, I respect you so much. I would love to have a wife like you. The same way I get like, and the haters are minimal in comparison to the supporters.
Wow.
I have a lot of men that are inspired by me that say, do you know what? I would like my daughters to look up to a woman like you. Because nothing in my presence is sexual as a woman. Nothing. Maybe you can put sexual things on me. Maybe, oh, she's pretty. Or like, I can see a bit of body. Oh, you can try and do that. But the way I present myself, there's nothing to do with sexuality. I'm a human. I'm a woman. And that's it. There's no, oh, will she not? I don't really like to talk about sex life. Why? Because it's nothing to do with you. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like to have these
Respect that.
discussions. It's none of your business. There's a certain way that you respect yourself and you value yourself and you kind of like keep yourself to yourself. You know, you keep that bit of yourself special. There's an intimacy about yourself that you need to have that is just between you and you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, bro, nobody can tell me anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I love that. Honestly, you just by that little bit alone, I feel that you're very underrated. You know what I
Super.
mean? Because people haven't seen that side, and I hope that message will come out.
I hope so. Make me go viral, sir. Make me go viral.
We're gonna try, man. We're gonna keep trying, yo. What I want to ask is, you've done quite a few degrees.
Yeah.
3 degrees, you said.
Mhm.
Now, something that it's on the agenda right now, people are saying, right, it's costing £10,000 a year,
Mhm.
you know, and it takes 3 years to get a degree done. That's £30,000 in debt before you've even started for a job that's not even guaranteed
Yeah.
to sort of be there. And unless you're going to become a doctor, a lawyer, something that really needs sort of technical skill,
Yeah.
should we really be doing degrees, or should we be getting on the floor and getting some experience, earning some money, not getting into debt and build businesses and being entrepreneurs? Now, you've obviously done, 3 sort of degrees. What's your opinion on this?
I think everybody should aim to try and at least just get to 1 degree, just to get to that stage. Because this is the thing, what you learn at different stages of education is quite different. So at school, you're being guided. At sixth form, you make a choice and you're kind of left a little bit to figure it out. Then at uni, you're fully on your own, but you're guided in terms of where you getting your information from. Does it make sense? Like, how are you putting your thoughts together? It's more about how your mind is working, how you use your mind to learn. So, for example, when you go to university and you learn to write an essay, you would never listen to TikTok because you understand the importance of knowing your sources, of knowing where your information comes from. So I think that education is more than the knowledge you gain in terms of like the facts is more about the skills you gain to be able to. uni teaches you how to learn. Uni teaches you how to research, how to find things that you didn't know before, and then how to know them after. And I mean, I think education in that aspect is important. But the good thing is that now we have technology that can help us a lot. So you can go on Google. Do you know how much I learn on YouTube?
Chat GPT. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Like, people are going on there. Like, I've seen somebody who's downloaded Canva, writ a journal, want people to follow them, so want them to subscribe to their website, and they go, I'm going to give you a free journal. And then they ask this machine, give me 50 points on this subject, and then it goes, all comes out. Copy it, paste it straight into Canva, and it creates it all into these sheets, and it's a journal they're made in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're looking like this done. And they've got us, and that information has come from a valid source. It
Yes.
is on that topic. But whether the person teaching you understands that, that's a different
That's
thing.
a different story.
Do you know what I mean? So it's coming to that point where we're in a technological era now.
Yeah.
There's so much technology. You can find stuff on YouTube. You can do short courses in certain areas where
Yeah.
you want to progress. Like, I know coming into the real estate sort of game, there's so many people showing you how to get into the real estate game. And not only are they just getting into the real estate game, but how to, like, they're taking them on site and teaching them a lot cheaper than university. So
Yeah.
what do you say to that? You know?
Oh, I mean, yeah, no, definitely. I think that it's going to get to a stage where education is going to be kind of exclusive to the minds that are going to be ruling. It's going to go back to how it was back in the day. You know, the masses do the rest, and the real ones are the ones that go through the journey. That's why, for me, I'm very proud of going through that journey, because it's put me on a different level. You know, there's a lot of people that are doing all of these courses, that are doing all these things, which is great. It's fantastic. And it does help. And like I said, so I speak to my students all the time. I say, you've got Google. You can learn literally anything on Google. You can make yourself be something on Google. But guess what? To even do research, there's a level of natural intelligence that you need to be able to put the things together and to ask the right questions. So natural intelligence is there for everybody. The way you work on it is what's different. Some people can go through education. Some people can find it on their own, or through different courses. I think it's possible. But you need to make sure that the people delivering that education is, like, that's the key. They need to be right, because otherwise you miseducate and then you create problems. As you can see now with TikTok, like, the generations to come, let me just tell you quickly how scary it is and why I take this role very seriously. The generations to come, the Gen Zs, no, the ones that are before, after the Gen Zs, the youngest ones, they had COVID. So they already missed out basically on a whole year of education. As children, for you to lose a whole year of education, that's a big, big deal.
Massive.
People don't understand until it really hits them. And that's all the way from primary to, I would say, end of high school. So that's like 12 years in total of it. No, let's put 10 years of education in total. That's 10 different kind of age groups that have missed out on a whole year of education. Then put TikTok on top of that, which has a lot of misinformation. It's got a lot of people saying a lot of different things. Maybe like 1% of these children within that kind of group, maybe 1% of them will do okay because they'll find their way. The rest are going to be the sheep that are forever going to be ignorant. They're going to be the forever working class that now, because of how things are getting worse, they're going to be even below working class. So at this moment in time, I would really just say, forget about what's right or what's wrong. Go and educate yourself and make sure that you're getting the right education, because you will need it. Because without education, you're going to be struggling to do whatever. Even without education, you can go on ChatGPT and write a million things. But if you don't know the questions to ask the AI, you're not going to get the source that you need. You need to ask the right questions. To ask the right questions, you need to kind of like have the right links in your mind to say, what do I need to know? That there is part of intelligence. So people need to educate themselves to even be able to learn what's coming up next. Because the ones that know how to ask questions, they're the ones that are going to thrive in this technological era. And asking the right questions means you need to think about things. You need to be profound with your ideas.
It's nice to hear that sort of point of view. I'm not sure I 100% agree with you, Danelva, on that one, because I see so many people who are educating and they look at a source, they look at a book, and then they get an A or a first, and that's it. They think they know it all, but life
Mm.
hits you differently.
Yeah.
You're not special as that coursework you did. You got an A. You got a book will teach you. There's the circuit board. Take that wire over to the light and switch it on, and it will be there. You'll get
Mm.
on site, and there's a bloody wall in between, and you
Yeah.
need to get that wire through there. Then you need to think, oh, I need an 18 mil drill bit, then put the wire through that. But the book doesn't really teach you them sort of life
Yeah.
skills. And certain people just carry on educating, but they don't take much action after, and then they just get stuck in the system.
No, that's facts. And I
You know.
think that's something that I'm glad they even said that, because let's make sure that we also put the whole cake together now.
Yes.
Education alone is not enough.
Yes.
You need to then be able to apply
Yes,
knowledge to action, you know, and that will be either through life experience or professional experience or both. So, for example, for me, it's life experience has been the most important thing that turns my education into wisdom, because I studied politics. So it's all about studying how people behave, how people think, how, you know, states interacting creates problems in the world, and how those problems create other problems. You know, it's about understanding those links. And then through my own lived experience in terms of even living in London, of understanding how like society is changing from like my parents and all of this stuff, I started to understand, okay, education is great, but now how does that translate into real life situations? So obviously I'm sitting here on this podcast. My education helped me, because now when I speak to people, I speak great with essays. I know how to put my point from A to B, give the logical steps, and it makes sense. So my education now turns into applied knowledge. And applied knowledge then means that you can actually teach. You can't just be smart and say, okay, I know this, and oh, okay, I got it. You can't just say, oh yeah, the book says from point A to point B, and now I know it. You know, you need to go do point A to point B to see, does it work? You need to apply it, to test it. And it takes time. I mean, I'm 30 now. I'm only just really comfortable in who I am properly now, because it's taken me years of learning and then trying, learning and trying, learning and trying. It's not an easy journey. And that's why when people expect success like that, it doesn't happen. And again, nowadays, when people continue to talk about, just to take it back to the red pill thing just quickly, because when I kind of like to kind of stab him in the back a little bit, right? When you're telling me that men should be with women that are young, that from like 19 to 20, that's the most attractive and it's probably the best because they have less baggage, this, that. No, you're going to struggle, because that's the person with less life experience, which means that their knowledge has not been applied nearly at all, which means that they, in theory, know things, but in practicality, they don't. So you get in trouble. So you need, like, people need to give themselves the time to learn and experience life so that the knowledge they have can make sense. You know?
Certain people can also think the grass is greener on the other side. If you're younger, it could have been like that. That's what it's like on social media. But sometimes when they've been through life a little bit, they go, actually, it's not that greener, and I'm really appreciative of the position I'm in, and I'm going to give this the best go. You know,
Yeah,
could be. There's two sides of a
yeah,
coin for sure.
definitely.
All right, so we got some questions for you. I know we've been grilling you already, but
No, I love it.
what do you think sets successful women apart from those who struggle to achieve their goals?
An essence of masculinity. And I'll explain to you why. Masculinity, at least the way that I understand it, is when you have like an assertive and logical kind of element to you. And I think that a lot of the time women are kind of trained to be submissive and to be, you know, to respond to others rather than to tell others what to do, right? And I think that women that become successful are women that are kind of not afraid to own that logical and assertive part of themselves, where they say, this doesn't make sense, this makes sense. Instead of like, oh, I feel like, you know, be that kind. No. As a woman, you need to be assertive, you need to be logical. You need to stop thinking about, oh, I'm a girl and I need to be doing things that girls do. No, you need to do what you need to do. Like my sister sent me a video of my little niece playing football. She's sick. And I'm like, yes, that's what girls need to do. You're good at football, do it. Why are you not doing it? So the girls that kind of usually miss out on certain things because they don't want to seem masculine are the ones that don't get to be successful. Because as a woman in the world that you live in today, you need to somewhat kind of mirror the system that it makes people successful. Why are men more successful? Because they operate like men. Because they operate in line with what capitalism is. And capitalism is actually a masculine system. Communism, on the other hand, is much more nurturing and much more kind of motherly. So yeah, it's got more of a feminine touch to it because communism is about everybody. It's about the people. Capitalism is about money. So if you're going to be successful in terms of money, you have to embody a little bit of masculinity. Masculinity doesn't mean act like a dude. That's not what it is. Masculinity in this sense is like have logic, have, you know, that assertive kind of attitude, be less emotional, be less you know, focus more, you know,
Think
be more
rationally,
1
but-
+ 1 = 2. I think that's what a lot of girls are missing, you know. Oh,
Minus 1 is 3. Quick maths.
yeah, you know, quick maths. That's what it is, girls. If you are not successful, it's because you quick maths ain't quick and you ain't good.
So, how have you tackled challenges and overcome obstacles in your, you know, sort of education career, should we say, life?
I dream big, believe in yourself, work hard. That's it. That's it.
Mic drop.
Mm.
Okay. What advice would you give to women out there who are just starting out in their careers?
I would say you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you should be listening more than you talk. Be humble enough to learn and be humble enough to understand that when things go wrong, it's a lesson, not a loss. And just keep going. Don't get caught up in the things that go wrong because your vision is there and your mission is there. You're still here, which means you need to look up rather than look down on what's around you.
Yes.
Stay focused.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
You're very motivated. You're very confident. But don't tell me you don't have setbacks or you don't have your down days. How do you pick yourself up from them days?
I'll be honest. I give myself like every month or every so often, I give myself the opportunity to just stay at home and cry because I've gone through a lot of things.
I'm sure.
And when you go through a lot of things, it's like you don't forget them. The feeling is still there. But for you to be able to deal with your things on a normal day, you can't be thinking about it. But there's days that sometimes you have the intrusive thought and those feelings that can kind of bring you down and you can't run away from them.
Mhm.
And instead of me allowing myself to have those intrusive moments, I bring them myself. Sometimes I'll be at home and I'll sit down and think about the things that I've gone through and I cry and I said, I can't believe I went through that.
Oh.
I can't believe I'm here now. And I reflect on everything that's gone wrong. And I pick myself back up because I look at how things were then and how they are now and what I can do more. And at least
Yeah.
tomorrow is still promised to an extent because I'm still breathing now. So I can even think about tomorrow. It's great.
Mhm.
I'm very grateful for my life because I've been at the bottom. I've always been kind of like a survivor of so many different things that I'm just grateful for even being here. And then I'm grateful for the fact that me being here, I'm using it the right way and I'm succeeding and excelling and I'm growing and things are making sense. And so I can't be down for too long. I can cry because things have hurt. I can cry in nostalgia. I can cry in gratitude,
Mhm.
but never in depression. No more. But I've been there. I've been
Mm.
there and I know what it feels like.
I love that, what you've just said, honestly. Growing up, I don't know if you saw on social media, but, you know, I used to get bullied a lot. I went to a boys' school.
Oh,
And it was in East London. And even the year after I left, it got shut down by Ofsted because it was that bad. There was knives. It was everything was going. The teachers would get touched up going up the stairs. It was really bad. Every day was like you had to watch your back. You're either getting robbed in the tuck shop, you're either getting beaten up in the toilets, or you've got to watch what you say, which is, you know, for a long time, I was scared to even speak a lot. You know, I didn't want to be heard in a quiet room in case I said the wrong
well,
thing.
what'd you say? What?
Yeah, what you saying, bro? Come, or you're getting it, or they follow you home, or
Yeah, it's
there's
really
e-
scary.
There was even a time where we went swimming and it was the last lesson, and somebody was like, "Yeah, he swore at your mum," and I was like, "No, I didn't." And they were like, "No, we're waiting outside for you, and you're under the
You're
blocks of
scared.
flats,
Yes,
and
yes.
you know you always get that sort of anxiety, and you're like, why me?" And yeah,
Yeah.
it was still tough, and we fought, and it made us stronger. But you know, it's from that sort of sometimes your darkest days and your pain is where you look at and go, look how strong I am now, you know. And
Look at me now.
yeah.
Can you imagine? I was the guy that they were trying to talk rubbish to,
Trying to
and
be-
now I
and,
can be their boss.
You know, and even in 2019, I used to be called Fat Boy. but I used to be overweight. My mum used to feed me. And
Oh,
you know, in 2019, at the end of 2019, just before COVID, I went on stage and I competed for men's physique, bodybuilding,
wow.
and I was so proud. There was over 700 people. There was my family in the audience, and I was just posing. And I was
Congratulations.
just smiling and waving because I was like, I know I'm not going to win this competition. Like these guys, I was going to swear, but these guys are, you know, they're
There's something
dedicated
else.
fully to their life. I'm fully shredded. I have a six pack right now. I've never been in this shape of my life. My family's there. I get pictures that I get to put that on the wall, and it's me, and I get to keep it, and I get to post it on Facebook because them boys who called me fat boy are fat and bold themselves now, and they're going, Sean, how did you do that? And it's like,
The
well,
glow up.
you know, I'm like, that little boy still lives inside me, you know? And
Yes.
it's almost like I want to go back in time and go give that little boy a hug and say,
Yeah.
everything's gonna be fine, bro. Like, we're gonna make it,
Yeah.
you know? But you just gotta stay with them thoughts,
That's it.
appreciate what you've been through, and use these setbacks as lessons in your life, because it doesn't have to stay that way. You don't
No.
have to be that person if you don't want to be.
Yeah.
You are always in the driver's seat.
Always. And when you become an adult, you actually become the most qualified and capable person to take care of the inner child that you wish you could have taken care of in school. Who's going to bully you now? You actually now have the ability to take care of yourself. You have
Yes.
the ability to be better, to make your child self happy. And I think a lot of people miss out on that. You know, the childhood dreams. Me, I've always loved to just party and travel and have fun and do whatever I want. I've always been a fun type of girl. And now, whatever I do, I'm always fun. It's all about having fun.
Yeah.
You can't say something bad to me. I'll stand up for myself because you cannot bully. I look at myself, like when I see myself in the mirror sometimes, it's almost like I see a flashback of my baby pictures, like my little baby face. And I'm like, how can somebody ever dare to say something like that to a child?
Yeah.
If it wasn't even me, if I saw someone doing that to any child,
Yeah.
I'll stand up for them. So how am I not going to stand up for myself? How am I not going to take care of myself? How am I going to be unhealthy and, bad to myself? Because I would not want to see somebody do that to a child. How am I going to do that to myself? When you do that, when you start looking at it that way, you take care of yourself better. Even, for example, with, let's say, because it sounds like I'm talking now like from a privileged place, but no, I was in a really, 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 really toxic relationship, and I hit rock bottom. I was suicidal. I hit rock bottom. And through that experience to get to where I am right now, I understood the most simplest of things. Take care of your child self. You can't tell bad words to yourself. You can't say horrible things to your own self because you wouldn't like somebody saying that to a child. If you saw a stranger talking like that to their daughter, you just gone to them and say, don't speak to that child like that. So you can't do that to yourself. You can't allow other people to do that to you. Everything is about a mental game. And once you understand that and you kind of hack it in ways that are going to help you, like, for example, I'm all about the mental and the chemical. Depression is also a chemical thing. It's a chemical imbalance. That means that you can actually do things that will boost the creation of the happiness hormones, as they call it, from going to walks in the park, from giving compliments to people, from achieving little wins, completing little tasks. There's so many little things that you can do to help yourself. So take care of yourself the same way you take care of a child.
I love that. I can see them little traits and relationships in terms of, I went through a little bit of depression when I was like about 10 years ago. I hit really rock bottom because I felt no sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Even in success, you can feel like that. When you're a 13-year-old child and all you want to do is make your family proud and say, I'm going to become a millionaire before 30, and you clock the game at 26, and that was all your focus. You're working hard, you're saving hard, you're building asset, and you get there and your accountant goes,
What now?
Sean, you've done it. You've got 1 point something million and in property, and it's like, I don't feel any different. I can't really tell anybody else about it. And even if I do, they're going to say, well, good for you. You're like,
Yeah.
nobody
So
cares. You're on
what?
your own journey. So you feel like a sense of no purpose. But I found my purpose in the gym. And maybe that's why I competed 4 or 5 years later, because I was like, hey, I can bench press 5 kg more, or I'm going to do 1 rep extra. And just that little bit of, gratitude to say, yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I pushed myself on a 5K today, or it's like life is more than just one thing.
Yeah.
More than a
It's
piece of
so
paper.
much. Listen, life is amazing when you start looking at it the right way. Do you know where I find my purpose? in learning, in knowledge and wisdom. That's why I like to meet people, because I'll sit down with you and I'll ask so much. Like, every person has got like an infinite source of knowledge and wisdom and stories. You learn so much from people that every single day can never be boring. Come on, there's too much to do. There's too much to see. So you always find a purpose. You just have to be creative.
100. I've got plenty of gems as well. I'm waiting for them podcasts to say, well, right, Sean Land, you think you got a good podcast? Who are you?
I can't wait to
We're ready.
Don't worry, me and
We're
you, we're
ready.
gonna
Come
do
on.
it. We're gonna
Let's-
switch.
Let's do it.
Because I need to find out about you, because this is the thing. Like, I know that for you to become who you are, as hard as it is for anyone, then also your background and where you come from means that you've got a bigger journey and a bigger struggle. And the fact that you've got your finger in so many different pies means that not only did you have like your own fight to fight, your mind's been everywhere. You've been active. And I want to know how active you've been. And also, I want to be able to showcase to people that you have to have a lot of energy. Energy is actually one of the most important things that you
100.
need to be able to be anyone. I'm even understanding that now. I'm only just at the beginning of my journey into who I am now. And my God, I wish I could be like 15 people at the same time, because this takes so much mental power, it's so much work. So I'd love to know, like, I mean, look at where you are. I want to be like you when I grow up. Yeah.
You can be anything you want, even better, and this is another thing, another trait to have. You shouldn't have competition with anybody, you should collaborate with people.
Yeah.
And when people get ahead of you, you should be proud of them and you should clap for them, because one day you want someone clapping for you.
Yes.
Also, when you're on your own journey, we are always in our own lane, as you said earlier on. We are always, going to our own goals, our own destinations. Why are you looking at the next person and trying to tear his tree down? Build your own tree bigger. Do what makes you happy. Don't judge people by how much paper they have in their bank account.
No.
Because
Because it's here today and it's gone tomorrow.
I'm telling you, it don't mean nothing. Some people lose their health. What good is? Some people lose a partner. What good is that money?
Yeah.
And people fail to to remember. You're not going to take a big, massive suitcase with $1 million or $2 million into the grave with you to the
No.
other side. It's all getting left here. You're not taking nothing. So as long as you can feed yourself and your family, the rest is actually just a waste.
Yeah, the rest is just like you doing all of these things. It's just more because you feel like it. You don't have to run that race. You don't need to be a millionaire to be happy. In fact, you don't even need money to live.
No,
You
don't.
can learn to do. You can grow your own food. Go be a hermit, and you'll still be able to survive. You can grow your own food, hunt you for your own food. You create your own shelter. All of the people right now, especially because social media is kind of like exaggerating it more, is kind of like making it seem so much more important to have material things. People are losing the vision of the substance of life. Life is very simple. Life
yes.
is you're breathing. Life is you love. That's it. And love means that you then create. Love is what links people. Breathing is what keeps you walking. Is what keeps you alive. And that's it. That's all you really need. You need to breathe and you need to love. And people don't have, when you talk about love and you talk about self-love, people think it's like all these fads, the next cliche thing to say. No, it's very real. It's the most important thing, is the only thing that you really need, because love for yourself is what's going to make you want to be successful and keep trying and keep trying to excel, because you love yourself. You want to make yourself proud. You want to make yourself, look in the mirror and say, oh, wow, I achieved all of this. It doesn't matter how much money it is. It's all of it. You did all of this. For me, I look at my life, I'm like, wow, I did all of this. And I keep going because I love myself and I like giving myself presents. I like to give myself, the pat on the back, the congratulations, and then that love that you have for yourself, you then translate it onto other people. That love for other people is what makes you do good things, good deeds that then return back to you. And then all of it just becomes a cycle. It never stops. That's all you need. And people, they don't understand that this is the most important thing. Money doesn't.
They overcomplicate.
They overcomplicate it. Money does not make the world go round. People make the world go round, because people created money. People make money. It's not.
Man make money. Money don't make a man.
That, you see what I mean? But it's true. So they're just investing in the wrong things all the time. People get depressed for the wrong things. Like sometimes I swear, I wish that I could just open up a house. Give me 1 week with certain people and you'll see how. No, in fact, no. It takes what? Is it 30 days to break a habit? Or something like this. Give me 1 month with a group of people that are said to be depressed or purposeless, I'll help them find their purpose. Easy. Because all the answers are in there. You just need to be away from the things that distract you from looking inside. That's it.
I love that mindset. Do you know, like, even when I'm sort of making up I might be making a course, I'm not too sure. I've been very against it because I don't want to be the guy who sells courses. But so much of my audience is, Sean, where's your course? We love you on a live, and we love what you teach us. We love all your quotes, your sayings, and putting things together. But can you put something systematic? And so when I am trying to make something in the background, I do 5 M's, for example: mind, method, money. And so it all starts with the first thing is the mind.
Yeah.
Do you love yourself? Because we're going on a journey. You're going to see investments. You're going to be going to a bank and taking out 1, 2, 300,000 debt. It's a good debt because it's going to make you money. But are you mentally ready for that? Because there will be certain periods like recessions, booms, busts, slowdowns. You will see some adversity. You will have builders overtaking. So, too much time on a project. You will have, the bank's interest rates going. Are you mentally ready for that? Because you need to love that person in the mirror and say, listen, we're on a journey and I'm going to have to, because people won't tell you that.
No.
They will say, look, get that debt, rent it for that much. This is what you're going to make every month. At the end of 5 years, you're going to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
They don't tell you, if you're doing a serviced accommodation with no money down, all you need is the petrol in the car, which is rent the house, and then you're gonna sublet it. But they don't tell you when
the headaches that come with it.
They don't tell you when your person comes and parks up 12 o'clock in the morning, and then you get a call from the neighbors. Why is there noise banging out next door? They don't tell you when you go to the house to check up and there's things broken and furniture, and that's gonna eat into your profits. They don't tell you all of these bad things, but you've got to be mentally ready. It's the most important thing. It's this thing between your ears.
That's it. Like that's, and this, I was once there was an Uberman. I love having conversations with the Ubermen because a lot of the time they're very wise.
Yes.
And they're doing this job because it's easy. They don't have to, exert too much like physicality for it. Sometimes old men, they're wise. And one of them said to me, think about the animals, right? You've got the lion with the big roar and its strength and the big mane. That's what makes him a lion. You've got bears. They're also really strong. They've got the claws. They've got everything. You've got sharks with the teeth. You've got every animal's got a power. The humans have got the power of the mind, but they don't use it. They don't realize that this is what makes you human. This is what makes you not have to live in the jungle like a chimpanzee. It's this. So people forget the importance of taking care of their mind. And mental health is more than just I think people are still very kind of like awkward to talk about mental health, to talk about depression, talk about feeling down. This is normal. This is the same as you having a cold. If you have a cold, you'd say, yeah, I've got a cold, my nose is running. So if your mind is not okay, you need to talk about it. You need to understand. You need to take care of it. If you're working too much, it's going to be too much stress on your mind. Take a moment. Go for a walk in nature. Take a break. Be okay to do absolutely nothing sometimes. I take days where I do nothing. My phone is off. From morning until night, I'm in my bed. I sleep. I watch TV. I do F all because my life is too busy.
Yeah.
I need to take care of myself. Do these things. When things go wrong, I need to be able to understand that for me to be able to handle the problem, I need to speak to people sometimes. May not go into super detail about it, but I'll be saying like, there's this thing happening. I don't know how I feel about it. What do you think? And that alone just start to kind of unload a lot of things. People don't think about that. Like they think that the journey is that people that get to success, they just do it because they stayed focused and things happened. No, it's because even when things were going wrong, they found a way to make those things not ruin everything for them. And even if you see those people that kind of escape the negativity, when they get to the top, they fall bigger. Because when they get to the top and all of a sudden they have to deal with the mind, it's too much. It's too much.
Totally agree. Guys, look after yourself. Even the alphabet tells you I is before the U.
Yeah. Yes.
You before the I. No, I before the U.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, look, we've got to plow through a couple of more questions because I know we've only got not too long. So I'm going to fire some questions. Tell me who's your role model and are there enough female role models out there?
My role model is my mom. She is the most powerful woman that I have ever met. She has gone through some of the worst things in this world, but she has created everything with so much grace, beauty, and love. You know, she's a very strong woman who is very feminine in her being, but you see the power, you see the strength. And I think that looking at my mom, I am able to see myself and who I am now. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, because my mom's a G. My mom is a G. She's the you could I don't see my mom cry often, and my mom's not very emotional, but she gives a lot of love and she shows her emotions, good or bad, in ways that are beautiful, you know? And that's the same thing with me. Like, I've gone through a lot of things. Like, I have a lot of strong emotions, but I portray them in a way that is loving. I never forget about love. You know, I don't forget that I'm a woman. Things can go wrong, and I can start a new story anytime. My mom started new stories so many times in so many different difficult situations. So I can never lose with a mom like mine. No way.
I love that. I love that because no matter where you got to, the unis, the different friends, you're still very rooted to that seed where you've come from. And I think too many of us don't appreciate our own families. I'm very close to my father. I'm also close to my mum. You know, my mum is the one who'll have a conversation with me. My dad is a man of few words, but he's the one who's teaching me. Do you know what I mean? He's like, this works like that. What investment you doing? Let me have a look. Think about this. But my mum would always be like, I need a word with you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm always in trouble when she says that. I'm like, all right, mom, what have I done? But she's a very strong woman to do that because I'm quite like, I'll be honest, I am quite an alpha male. I like to do what I want to do, how I want to do, how I run things. But my mum, she knows, like, Sean, I need a word, you know?
Yes.
And we need to look back to the people closest to us because you've got to remember they have a wealth of experience before you. They've dealt with things like, if you fall, remember they've fallen about 20, 30 times before you.
Yes.
So they will tell you how to give up. They're our infrastructure. They've seen you cry, wet your nappy. We should appreciate them people
Yes.
because them are the people, you know, who can sort of make you feel good. When you're not feeling right, they know how to make it right, you know?
Yeah, they're the ones that sacrificed everything to make sure that
Come
you're
on.
who you are.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for her, I can brag about everything that I've achieved and I'm this and I'm that.
Yeah.
I would never be here for the choice if it wasn't for the choices my mom made.
100. There we go. So take that. Look after your parents, guys. Give them something back as well. It's all about giving, not just receiving.
That's it.
Danelva, do you think it's fair that women go on maternity leave and then they come back and their job's not really there anymore? Someone's replaced them and they've done is just they wanted a family also and also a career.
Oh, I think the problem with maternity leave comes more down to people. I think that just because you take a break from work, shouldn't make you any less qualified than you should be to continue to do that job. If you go back to your job after maternity leave, you need to understand that you've been away for a while, which means that whilst you're in maternity leave, yes, you can be a mother, you can do all of this, but I also know that as a mother, you can still have a brain. You can still go back to work and say, listen, I took time to be a mother, but this is what I'm capable of. This is everything that I've done. This is my experience. This is the commitment that I'm trying to make. Know your value, you know, always. People are too willing to, you know, roll over and die. You know, it's like, why? Like, stand up for yourself. Women need to stand up for themselves a lot more. But then also women need to understand the privilege that they have to even have these benefits sometimes, because your people are paying for you to go to be at home to take care of your child. So they're already giving you a benefit, because they could have been like, okay, you're going to go home and have a child. Your man is a provider. He doesn't get maternity leave. So he works, and make him work more. If anything, maybe his job, instead of giving women maternity leave, start giving the men maybe a little bit more money for being at work whilst they've had a child, you know? Maybe supporting that way. I think, I don't know. I think this whole system where it's a bit, it needs to revision a little bit more. Some deep minds need to really look into how having a family changes career dynamics. That's the main thing that needs to be checked out. I'm not a mother yet, so I wouldn't know, but I've worked myself to a point now that even me being a mother is not going to stop me from being able to carry out my career, you know?
Yes.
So It's a complicated one, I'd say more.
Do you think there is a discrimination in the workplace with men and women?
It's to an extent. To an extent, in fact, let me say, yeah. I would say that if I wasn't the woman that I am, I would have suffered a lot, especially as a pretty girl. In those environments, like for example, in those environments, if you're pretty, you're expected to be a bit dumb. And not only you expected to be a bit dumb, you're immediately sexualized. And this depends on the type of workplace. For example, I did work in sales for like in total maybe like 3 years of sales whilst I was like jumping from degree to degree. And within those office environments, I experienced that very much, the boys, the manager and the lads, because they talk about football and they have like a sort of friendship and they go for pints down the pub. I don't drink pints.
Yeah.
I'm a girl. I don't want to be bloated off beer.
Yeah.
You see? So we miss out on those opportunities, but it also comes down to the ignorance and to that sometimes those environments have because they want to kind of big up the whole ladness and the masculinity a part of things that you put girls aside. But I don't think that a lot of the time is intentional when it comes to discrimination. I think discrimination it stems from ignorance. Oblivion to certain things that to us are so obvious, but to others, they don't even realize it's there. Some people don't even realize, like, my experience as a mixed race person. They don't understand, like, what it means to not be black or to not be white and be both.
Do you think that is more of an issue than being a female or a male? Or do you think the whole combination of all of them?
I think race is a bigger issue than male or female. Yeah, race, because the stereotypes attached to race are much more toxic and damaging than whatever stereotypes attached to women. Between man and woman is like, oh yeah, I'm stronger than you. I work, you go home and you cook. Fine. But when it comes to race, there comes certain prejudices and certain stigma that is quite heavy and is quite hard to kind of fight against. I think that people are very ignorant about their perception of race. Race and culture are quite different. Race and culture are quite linked at the same time. Race and culture also means that we speak the same language, but we speak in a different language at the same time. I don't think people in the workplace really realize how much they kind of patronize me, because I would say, because obviously it's a mix for me. Obviously, because I'm a woman and because of my skin tone. People always expect me to be dumb. Oh my God. When people hear me speak and when I start to, show them like what's in my mind, they're always in shock. And they don't realize where that's even coming from. It comes from the preconception of like, oh, okay, immigrant, black people, black people kind of like, they're all loud, they're all angry, they're all this, they're all that. No. There's different elements to it. There's different classes to it. There's different levels. There's so much complexity. The same way that there is with white people. There's chavs. Isn't there chavs? Isn't there posh people? Isn't there middle class working people? There's all sorts of different varieties within the white race that it's the same thing. It's parallel with black. It's parallel with Asians. It's parallel with whoever you are, blue, yellow, red, green. It's parallel. There's different dynamics because it's all part of a society. The skin tone only shows that you come from a different society, like culture, a different society. That's it. But everything is parallel. So the stereotypes that kind of put on us is more like historical, but people don't know their history, so they don't even understand what's going on.
It's true, because people, it's like taking this bottle right now and I'll put a different color over it. Does it make the color of the water any different?
No.
Do you know what I mean? People just can't understand that.
Yes.
And with sort of a little bit of racism, I find it's not said anymore, but it's very much felt.
Oh yeah.
And even I've got friends who do massive buildings and get in their flats because they're like my mentors and my older brothers, and they go, look, I've just starting this project now. I said, oh, okay, so when did you start the application? He said, 2011. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, it's took me 10 years to get this agreed. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because it's in this type of area and it's predominantly this color.
Yeah.
And they've seen my name and that's it. They've refused it on so many silly little things just to even slow me down to keep applying. And you can only apply every 3 months or 4 months, and then you have to revise it and go back to a drawing board.
Yeah.
I've felt it going in certain queues, and I felt it where they're like, you stop, oh, you're through. I'm like, what was that? Like, you feel it. I'm sorry, don't they've got a different ticket or something. You feel it sometimes, and you just think that's not right.
Yeah.
The world shouldn't be like this.
It shouldn't.
know.
But you can fight against it. Your substance. When you show, like you said, you can change the color of the bottle, but the water is still the same.
There you
Show them.
go.
When people are going to be racist, just open your bottle and pour the water and be like, you see, I'm like you. In fact, probably my water might be better
Oh,
tasting.
it's more purified, more clean.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
more giving. It's holy.
Yeah, you have to show them your substance, because people get too blinded by the color of your skin. These times it's what's in your head that matters. I love it when I make people be like, what? It's the most amazing feeling to fight against stereotypes.
Can you name me 5 things that you're grateful for?
I am grateful for my scars. I am grateful for the love that I have in my life. I am grateful to be breathing and healthy. I am grateful for life. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for everything. There's really not just for
I'll
everything.
help you
Grateful
with the
for
last
everything.
one. I'll help you with the last one. You're grateful for being on Sean Land's podcast.
I am. Do you know what? Let me tell you. I am very grateful to be here because I'll tell you why. Because it feels good to be able to sit down with a man that has achieved as much as you have, that has the mind that you have, and to have a rapport like this. Because I think that, like you said before, a lot of people underestimate me and also misjudge me. And I want to be able to sit with people like you, because sitting with people like you gives me respect. You winning, I win now, because I'm sitting here with you. You are respected by a lot, especially men. You're sitting here and you're respecting me. We're having a great conversation. We're laughing. It's great.
This is nothing out of the ordinary. This is how it should be.
That's it.
It's been said over the centuries, over years. My religion also teaches me, before you become Sikh, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, you must become human.
Mm-hmm.
Be human first, and be unselfish, be giving, help other people. This is how the universe works. You've got negative, positive energy. You focus on the positive, you will attract more positive energy. I believe we are all just energy. So why do you create such a bad energy around you? What do you think? When you're late for work, you've set your alarm late. You're running around. You're looking more scuffy. You haven't had breakfast. You're running after that bus, and you've missed that bus, and you've missed the next bus, and then you get to your destination, the doors have closed and they're having their morning meeting, and you're like, okay, you have to get in 15 minutes later, and then you come in and everyone's looking at you. Your day gets worse and worse and worse. Start your day differently. Start it positively.
That's it.
Plan your days. I've got work in the morning. Forget waking up and pressing the snooze button. You're messing up your mind.
Yeah.
It's even scientifically proven that you should get up every half an hour, 45 minutes. And if you press the snooze button after 5 minutes, you've messed your whole body clock by going into that, because your body needs that deep 45 minutes sleep. Otherwise, the whole day goes bad. But when you get up after that 45 minutes, you're fresh, you're out. Just get up.
That's it.
Get out. Do your hustling.
Something.
Be 5 minutes early. My granddad always taught me that. He goes, Sean, telling you one trade, always be 5 minutes early than 5 minutes late. You see how much difference that will make to your world. And this goes back to that point you were telling me before. Simplicity.
Simple.
Keep it simple. You don't have to be the best one in the room.
No.
You don't have to be the most gifted in the room. Just be present. Be there to absorb the energy. Imagine how many lectures you went to. Imagine if you missed half the lectures. You're not even giving yourself the opportunity to be in that room and for that opportunity and for that greatness.
That's it. And all you got to do is just show up.
Yes.
Just be there. That's
show up. I can hear that motivational music now. Just show up.
That's it.
Who are you gonna be today?
Show up. Be the best you. That's it. Show up and be the best you. Because listen, somebody can be prettier than you. Somebody can be faster than you. Somebody can be richer than you. You're never gonna be the bigger whatever. The only way you are ever going to be a champion that is undefeated is in being you. No one can beat you at being you. Be a champion at being yourself, and you will win forever. I'm a champion. I know myself inside out. I know myself inside out. I work hard at knowing me. I work hard at being me. When I meet people, I analyze myself. I go back to the interviews that I do and I watch myself. I analyze my emotional responses. I analyze my speech. I analyze everything. I'm like, was that good? Was that, could that be better? And that's it. And you become a superhuman.
You bring the sauce, baby.
I'm telling you, I study this. I study
Come on.
myself. Study yourself, people, more.
Come on.
Be more self-aware. Read more books about what it means to be human, so that you can understand that sometimes your impulses and your thoughts are natural. You know, things like I was reading the Robert Greene. Do you know
Yes.
the 48 Laws of Power, Art of Seduction, and the Laws of Human Nature? Those books have like opened my mind up to a beautiful, beautiful part of my life where it's like I'm aware of what it means to be human. I don't really care to manipulate or not manipulate, but at least I know myself really well. I know that if I have an intrusive thought, I know what it means. Is it envy? Why would it be envy? Why did I have? I analyze every single one of my thoughts. It's amazing. And then it's like when you sit with people, it's like you can read their mind almost. It's like you're super comfortable. Like I said to you, you don't need to tell me what you ask me. It's fine. Just
want-
ask.
I want to ask you, being that you've given me the permission. So you're currently employed.
Mhm.
Is that where you want to stay, or do you think entrepreneurship is for you?
So right now I'm kind of like in the transition from employment. So I'm working in the school, but the reason why I got into that is because I wanted to invest into myself. So I said, I want freedom. So I went through an agency to do supply work.
Okay.
And then by accident, this is the thing, this is the universe constantly just putting things in my presence. After the Andrew Tate thing, I was just like, like community empowerment is really what I need to be at now that I've got the opportunity and the exposure. I need to find my way. And then all of a sudden, a school that needs behavior management, specialty pops up. And then I go into it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into it to just see how it is. I'm still going through the agency, through supply work. Then they want to take me on full time. So now I said, okay, you can take me on as full time for now. Give me 2 weeks working with the agency because I have to be grateful for the fact that they've even put me onto that opportunity. But then we're going to cut ties with the agency and you're going to contract me through my own company as a specialized person that comes here to deal with behavior management. This is my company, and then you pay me directly.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, once I've got that,
Yep.
then it's proof of concept for me to pass it on to everybody else. And then you'll see, give me maybe a year. I think 1 year should be enough, and you'll see how I'm going to become the UK's next like behavior management consultant for the educational system for sure. The
Wow.
way that I've changed the school already, the way I've applied my knowledge, because I did a degree in education to teach Spanish and French. And also then I did a degree in international relations and in US foreign policy. US foreign policy, they've got the biggest ego in the world. So through learning about the US, I learned to deal with egos. I learned to see what makes people tick, why people act in certain ways. So all of that is teaching me how to deal with the biggest of egos. I sat down with Andrew Tate. There was not one shout in place. Why? Because I know how to deal with him. I know how to deal with men. Men have got big egos and sensitive ones. I know how to deal with them now. So at this point, I'm just creating all of my proofs of concept. I'm just building my skeleton and then I'm going to fatten it up. Oh my God. Strong. Not even fatten it up and muscleify it up.
Come
That's
on.
it.
Big energy. Do you know what? That is so exciting to hear and so refreshing.
Yeah,
I
can't
thought
wait.
I was going to get a little bit of a different answer, to be honest, where it was going, but there's so much passion in giving to people and helping society and build the right people. It's like a breath of fresh air hearing what you've just said, because so much you're hearing the wrong things in what's happening in the education system. People are getting dumbed down a little bit more, and the level of what it used to be to what it is now, you can just see it when you walk into certain places and you're just thinking, that person just spoke to me like this. They're not even self-aware, and they're giving me a sort of silly answer, and I'm not even as educated as you, but I'm a little bit more experienced. But for you to say what you're saying, this is what the system needs.
Yes, this is what the world needs. I genuinely believe that I was born with a purpose. I've been a survivor before even I was born, um like I need to come and make a change. I'm a light in the world. I walk anywhere, there's brightness. I can't help it. I cannot help it. My happiness, it goes on to everybody. My energy is undeniable. And I believe that is going to be the thing that is going to put me up there and going to keep me pure in my intentions and in my journey, because power corrupts. but the power that I'm gaining is not corrupting me. That power is making me brighter and shine more and want to do more for people. Is making me more humble and more grateful. And I believe genuinely the world needs people like me. The world needs people that have true intentions to make everything better, because it's not even just because of people. It's because also I know that the better you are, the better I'm going to be. The more I give you, the more you're going to give me. I like to see people win, because if I know you and you're winning, I'm going to win. Come on, if you go to the top and you're going to all these amazing parties, or you've got all this money and you can afford all these things, if I've invested in you, if I've given you any bit of my life, when you're up there, you're going to give it back to me tenfold.
There we go.
So you invest into people. Me making the world better is not just good for the world, it's good for me. I will win by doing all of this. I will win by making things better. I win more than to do things worse. I win more than to be corrupt. Do the right thing. Trust me, you're going to win. Invest in people, you're going to win.
And overall, Danelva, what does success mean to you? So what is that one thing that you call success?
Success for me is the ability to have reached a point where you can bless others. The more people you can bless, the more successful you are.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Is there any question that you wish I asked you?
Not really. I like the way our conversation has gone. I
Yes.
think it's personal on a different level. You know, I'm too used to speaking about men and women in relationships and this and
Sometimes
that.
half of it's pointless.
It doesn't really mean much.
It's specific to a certain person. Your culture's different.
Mhm.
My culture's different. I like something different from my woman. You might look like something different from your man. We look. You can't eat like chicken and rice every day. Do you know what I mean? It's always different.
That's it. It depends. So I'm happy that we went down a different path.
I'm sure we can do more things together, honestly,
course.
because we just flow really well, actually. I had so many more questions, but we're just limited on time. And I was like, there's got to be a part 2 at some point.
Let's do
you know,
it.
or something, or a little fun series or something that we do out and about. Let's have a little look. I don't
Listen,
know.
do you know what? Like, let's talk. I've got already some ideas on how me and you can collaborate. Because remember, as much as I am wise in what I know, there's a lot that I don't know, and there's a lot more for me to find out.
We listen. In life, even no matter what I've accomplished, every day I'm a student of life.
Yes.
I always talk to different people. I never judge people by money. I look at their attitude. If you do me wrong, boy, seriously, I'm walking. It doesn't matter what's on the table, what you think. You never need anybody. You never, because think of every single situation you've been in your life and you think, I need that person or I need that person in that relationship. You'll live. Everything will be fine.
Yes.
Never stay for a circumstance. Never think that I'm losing this. Like, yes, there's certain things that you should be responsible for. And if you're in a marriage, you need to work on things like that.
Yeah.
But there's certain scenarios that you're in, you don't need to take any rubbish or be unhappy. You need to focus on the future and where you're going to next.
Yes. And that's what Mum told me. The best advice she ever said, you'd rather be alone than in bad company.
Yes.
And that's
100,
it. And that's it. And you win.
Definitely. Well, I think we're going to wrap this one up. It's been an absolute pleasure. Dinalva, how can people follow you? If you just tell that camera, and where are you?
Guys, we are still in the journey of building the biggest empire you'll ever see. But to start off with, come see me in one of my towers called Instagram at dinalva.ao. You can also find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube now, actually. I've got some videos. So just type my name, Dinalva. There's not many like me anyway, so you'll find me.
There we go. She's bringing the sauce, baby. Guys, don't forget to smash the like button. Leave us a comment. You know, if there's anything that you wish I'd ask, you know, there could be more content for another episode.
Yes.
Make sure you share this, because these are the type of conversations you should be sharing and people should be knowing about. And don't forget to smash the bell button so you don't miss another episode. But join us on the next one, and thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.